It is another midweek fan chat episode, and we are going back to the great state of Texas. It's the Newcastle United Digest. Let's go, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome out to the Newcastle United Digest. My name is Adam Snyder, and this time we are going to be heading down way south in Texas. That's right. We are talking with Christina from Toon Army Houston, sharing a little bit about their group, how they came to be, and if you are in that area, what to expect. So without further ado, welcome out, Christina. How you doing?
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. How is everything for you so far today?
After the match, pretty crappy.
Yeah. So for all of you who are wondering when we were recording this was right after the game against Brighton, where we lost 1-0, and that was a very disappointing one, to say the least.
To say the least.
Yeah. And you're trying to avoid giving me any F1 spoilers as well, so hopefully that doesn't happen throughout this.
No. I've silenced my phone. Actually, I have lost my phone, so I don't know where it's at anymore. And the TV's on mute, so you can't hear anything.
Okay, so if you're surprised by anything, please don't show it in your face. I beg of you.
I am not surprised. After today's match, I am not surprised by much of anything right now.
That's pretty fair. I'll give you that. So let's dive right into it. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and where you're from, and your group as well.
Okay. Well, hi. My name is Christina. I'm born and raised in Houston, Texas. I have always loved football my whole life, mostly rooting for Mexico. Hopefully my family is not watching. When I was growing up, I secretly loved Club America, even though my family roots for Monterrey. I am now a Monterrey supporter through and through, because lying to family about who you support is not easy. Then I met John, who is from Newcastle, and he said, follow Newcastle or we can't be together. And I said, perfect. I already watch football. So, it wasn't like, oh, I have to watch a sport. It was, I already watch it. So now it's just going to be English instead of Spanish.
Okay. So that's a pretty easy transition for you. I have a pretty similar story to you, with ice hockey instead of football. Like for my entire life, I was born and raised in the Chicago suburbs, and my family's from St. Louis, and they're all St. Louis Blues fans. So when I was like really young, I would start watching hockey with friends, and they're like, "Oh, well, they're all Blackhawks fans, so I'll start rooting for the Blackhawks." And my dad's like, "Oh no, you don't."
We don't.
I mean, my dad's family lived in the same neighborhood as the first players that started playing for the Blues when they were expansion teams. So,
oh wow, okay.
My parents, my family is literally like day one Blues fans. So like, there's no way they would ever let me be Blackhawks fans.
I gotcha. Yeah, I just after watching, was it Face to Face or Face Off, whatever was on Amazon Prime, about the NHL from last season, I believe, because that's when Florida Panthers won against Edmonton Oilers. So I was like, you know what? I like it. I think I'm going to get into hockey now.
It's a fun sport. I will say right now that the most intense sporting events that you will see is NHL playoff hockey. Like, there's nothing else that comes close.
Yeah, Houston doesn't have a team. I mean, I heard at one point we had the Arrows, but we don't have a team. And it goes against everything I believe in to go for any Dallas teams.
You can become a Blues fan like me.
Actually, I was like, what about the Oilers? Maybe they might come back and go to the finals again. So I don't know. I honestly, I have no alliance right now. So
they're a really fun team to watch. I'll just say that. Well, they've been kind of sputtering this year, but in the years past with people like with Draisaitl and Who's the other guy that they have? The other big guy. Like, but they've got a stacked team. They've got everything that it takes to win, but they just can't convert.
Oh, are you talking about the Oilers?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's because
if you're
Houston
Newcastle,
had Houston Oilers, and
right.
And I just feel like that makes sense.
Having a stacked team and then not living up to the potential sounds like a perfect team to follow if you're a Newcastle fan. So support the Edmonton Oilers.
Yes. On paper, we look great, but who said it? Brian Clough said, but we don't play. Oh, we play on the pitch or something like that. John knows that one. I don't know it.
Yeah, we don't play up to our potential on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. That's very, very true, especially today.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from Monterey and Newcastle, are there any other clubs that you support? Are you like a big Houston Dynamo supporter? Do you follow any other sports at all?
I've tried. Sorry for anybody who's listening who follow MLS. I have tried, and I hate sounding so insulting, but for me, it's true. It just is so basic, right? In my opinion, I'm not excited by watching them. I've tried putting on Red Bulls or Salt Lake or who's the other one? I want to say San Jose Earthquakes. I don't know all the teams. Sorry. I've tried watching, and it's like baseball for me. If I can't sleep, I will put on MLS so I can fall asleep. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad because I know there are supporters, Newcastle supporters, who love their MLS teams, and I think that's great for you.
I've tried getting into it for a long time. The fire was so bad, so I just couldn't bother myself to watch them. And then my family is now all from St. Louis, and St. Louis just got a team, so I started following them last year. They did well, and this year they've kind of sputtered. So I've been there. It's fun to go with friends, but I'm not going to shell out any additional money to watch the MLS through Apple TV at all. I'm just not going to do it. I can't justify it.
Yeah, same.
I at this time it's Newcastle, Formula One, and hockey whenever I can watch it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I feel like hockey is exciting in its own right. It's not ever boring. The games I have watched, boring is not a word I would use when I watch hockey.
Even a 1-0 game is really exciting to watch in hockey.
The only problem is when they say following the puck, that's the only hard part. It's like, where did it just go? Other than that, yeah. So for me, it's just football, Formula One, and I guess this season it will be hockey at some point.
So let's talk a little bit more about Toon Army Houston. How long have you guys been a group, and how did it get started?
So I want to say we got started in 2016, kind of, sort of. Okay. I came across Peter Mason, and I can't tell you how I met him. Not sure, but it's him and his wife, and they are Newcastle supporters. And somehow, we got together and started. I really wanted to kick this off. The reason why I wanted to is because you could hear St. James Park while we were watching the matches, John and I. And I'm like, surely there has to be supporters here in Houston who are just as loud to have that atmosphere. And at this point, I had never been.
Okay.
And I was just like, oh, that's a lie. That's a lie from the pit of hell. I did. That's right. I went in 2007. And yeah, because we showed up a little late. John and I, and we were walking from the Chinese gates over, and you can hear everybody, like, and I have never experienced that. I have been to games in Mexico, and it gets loud, and the chants are pretty, they're good. But this was another level. I had been to Rocket games, I've been to Astro games, I had been to Texan or Oiler games. This was just another level. And I just remembered, though, us coming back and watching the matches. And I'm like, surely there are people here, because this is an oil city, and, you know, England, Scotland have oil companies. Surely they send people over here who are from the area. So there has to be supporters here that'll have that same atmosphere, give you that same feeling.
Right. You want to have that home away from home experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I brought it up to John, and he goes, no, I like being at home and watching the matches by myself. I was like, no, I am being Mexican. We like being around people all the time. And I was like, no, we're going to do this. I'm doing this. I'm just for you. It's really for me, but I'm going to tell everybody it's for you. And so at some point, you know, Peter and his wife had family and stuff, so they had family obligations. So for a while, it was just me and John. And I would show up to Richmond Arms. I would show up to wherever and try to get people to come. And it's been, it has definitely been a journey, to say the least. And now we're at Backyard Grill. And it's funny how that happened, because now this is 2016. I want to say 15, 16, somewhere around there. And I have Facebook and everything and Twitter, and I was like, hey, we're going to Bar Munich in downtown. I had gotten a hold of them. They said they would open for us, blah, 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 blah. It was against Tottenham, which is Bar Munich at the time was a Tottenham match. It was a Tottenham match. And I show up and nobody's there. And Chris, who is now in Alabama with his wife, Alabama? Yeah, I think so. Anyways, he showed up there. And I was like, well, looks like I'm going back home to watch the match, and I'll miss, 15, 20 minutes of the match. Not a big deal, right? But at least I'll catch it. And he goes, well, I don't know what area of town you're in, but there is a place that's open right now, and they'll put on the match for us. So I was like, oh, yes, please and thank you. And so we head to Backyard Grill, and ever since then, they're a restaurant bar, so it's not a sports bar, but they will put the match on for us. 6:30 in the morning, they'll open just for us. They don't open for breakfast anymore, but they'll open for us, and we don't have to compete with anybody else. They have, I think, at one point, there were some other supporters who live in the area who asked if they could, watch the matches there, and the management team said no. Wow. We're in Newcastle. We're only Newcastle, and we'll only open for them. So, to me, that was amazing that they would even do that for us.
Yeah, it's amazing when you can get a place on board like that for so long and develop that relationship with them. It's something that I'm so happy to see that's happening here in Chicago. Like, I'm sure you heard the stories when you were here for the Fan Fest about how we were at a pub called AJ Hudson's. It's a great place. Don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic bar. You've been there once, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
They had the moonshine drinks. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And good reason to remember that by.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got Man City, Liverpool, West Ham, us, Celtic, Real Madrid's there now too. Like, the groups are getting bigger, but the place itself isn't getting any bigger. So, something has to give, and, eventually one or more of those groups has to break off and find someplace else to go. And, Bev thought it was a good time to move to where they moved to now, the Green Post. And so far, so good. They've got a good food, good drink selection. They're owned by their ownership group actually owns a cidery, so they make their own ciders, which are fantastic.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, they're so good. I went to their place before. I didn't even realize, didn't put two and two together that they were owned by the same people. Like they had their own like craft cider bar, not too far away, like halfway in between AJ Hudson's and where the Green Post is. They used to have their own place. I went there once and like, wow, I never realized how wide a variety of cider there was, but this is fantastic.
I got to talk to, I guess he's the owner or co-owner that day that we were supposed to be at FanFest, but we ended up being at the Green Post, and he overheard us say that after the match, everybody was going to go to
the Northman.
The Northman. Yeah, I didn't want to. I couldn't. I knew it was North something.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, we own that too." And we just started talking, and I just told him how great it was that what he did for us the night before, and how welcoming it felt. And it felt like even his staff were trying to bend over backwards to make sure that we were happy. And I thought that was just great. So I told him thank you, and we definitely saw the effort that went into what they did for us, and it didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, for sure. It was a fantastic effort.
Yeah.
So how many people come out on average for your matches? We'll say like a 9 a.m. kickoff, or like Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff, or the late kickoff.
So those are different, right? Typically for a 9 a.m., we'll have anywhere between 5, 6 of us to about 8 at most. 11 depends on, like, as we're getting closer to the holiday season, it's going to be less and less because, people are doing shoppings and family stuff and whatever. But on average, late kickoffs, we could have somewhere between 10 to 12. Okay. And I'm really hoping to, make that bigger. I would like to make that, for us to constantly have somewhere between 15 to 20 people would be great, Yeah,
that's a great size to have, not only for an atmosphere, but for the bar that you go to. Like having that size, it makes it very much worthwhile for the establishment that you're at, and always have a great atmosphere with that size of a group as well.
Oh yeah, and I mean, the fact that they don't have to open for us, but they do, and then they staff bar for us, I think is just great. They don't have to do these things, but they do it, and I really appreciate it when my people show up to show their appreciation to the bar staff, to say, hey, thank you for being here, because they're not on the clock, so they're not getting paid to be there. So when we can show them how we appreciate them, I'm sure that's why they keep allowing us to do this, because, we tell them how appreciative we are.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, your husband's a Geordie. How many times have you been over with him for matches? I know you mentioned that you've been over in 2007. You've been over once? Is that time? Okay.
Yeah. After that, I started getting serious with school. I've changed my major 3 times, which is not the greatest thing to do. Don't do it, kids. And so it's really tough, between finals and midterms and so forth. There is no way I can make time to go over, but I have 4 more years. And then after that, I can go as many times as I want. And that's what I look forward to, right? Like, he's over now, over there. He didn't go to the match today, which I'm so grateful because he would have been so depressed. But you know, when he goes, he tries to make it for a match each time he goes. And I get a little jealous, I'm not gonna lie. But the end of the rainbow of this is when I graduate, that's gonna be my graduation gift, is 2 matches in a row, home and away. So I'm excited. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of my times going over to Newcastle have actually been away matches.
Mm-hmm.
In the previous regime, it was a lot easier to get away tickets than it is now, and there weren't the repercussions now to hand or resell your tickets at face value to somebody that compared to what they are now. So I think of the 10, I think I've been over for 10 matches, and I think 8 of them have been away.
Oh, okay.
But I'll just tell you right now, the atmosphere for away matches historically have been very good. The home atmosphere now is a lot better since the takeover, but you can't beat that away atmosphere, in my opinion. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why Newcastle's on TV so much when they go away, is because of the atmosphere that the away fans bring.
Oh yeah, and when I watch old interviews or even more recent interviews of players from the early 2000s and back, a lot of them will say, the best atmosphere that they've ever encountered is the atmosphere at St. James's Park, and then the away. That's all they can hear is these loud Geordies, and I love that. That is probably one of the best things in the whole wide world, is that feeling. I'll never forget it. And I understand it's only one time, but it was that one time that made the biggest impression. I will never forget, walking across because it was a parking lot where Stax is now, but that was just a parking lot, walking across it, and you can hear them singing already. You can hear them chanting. You can, at first, I definitely did not understand anything Geordies were saying. Like it was, they would be laughing. So then I just thought I would laugh too. I don't know if they're making fun of me or not, but that's okay too. If you're laughing, I'm laughing. Very awkward. I don't know what you said. Can you repeat yourself and say it slower? But it was just this, I don't know, if I always tell people, if you've never been to a football match in your entire life, it's worth the money to make it over to Newcastle, even if it's just for the day to go to the match. I promise, if you don't fall in love with just walking up, not even going into the stadium, but just walking up, and if it's not infectious, one, you don't have a heart or soul, but two, something's wrong with you. But it's just this, it's intoxicating. It is just, I don't have words. Normally I do, but it's just something that just sticks with you.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I remember my first match over, and we stayed at the Sandman right outside of St. James's Park, and just going out for the morning and just walking around Newcastle, just taking everything in. Even at 9:30, when it's a 3:00 kickoff, I'm just like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Like, there's a buzz and a charge in the air all over Newcastle, regardless of where you are, because chances are everyone that you come in contact with, they're doing their like pre-match stuff so they can get to St. James's Park or wherever to watch the match. It's the only other place that I've experienced that sort of like pre-game buzz before a game has been around, and I'm a White Sox fan by the way. It's around Wrigley Field. Like, it's the same type of charge, atmosphere, excitement. Everyone, in the bars and pubs, having a few drinks, enjoying themselves. But there's that charge of anticipatory energy that you experience before the game.
Yeah.
And St. James Park and Wrigley Field are the only two places that I've really experienced that. And I'm with you when I first walked into St. James Park and you walk up those stairs and you see the pitch for the first time.
Man.
Every time you see it, anytime you think about it, anytime you like talk to somebody else about it, like you get chills, you get goosebumps just thinking about your first time. And
It's
I hope
amazing.
it is. I hope that anybody who's watching this, if you're a Newcastle supporter, do whatever you have to do, figure it out, go over for a match. You will completely understand once you get there and walk up those steps.
Yeah, if you have to sell your eggs, sell your sperm, plasma, it honestly, it's worth it. You don't need those things. It's not a big deal. Just
DoorDash, Uber Eats, whatever you have to do.
oh yeah, those things too.
Yeah. You don't have to get that desperate anymore. This is the gig economy. You can, there's so many other ways that you can make some extra money and put it aside to go for a match.
Yeah.
But if you're desperate, do those things too.
It's worth it, I promise. Oh my gosh.
I know that you and I we've met at some of the US events. We met in Nashville earlier this year. Obviously you came to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You were
Fan
in
Fest.
Yeah, Fan Fest.
In Philly.
You were in Philadelphia last year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the only?
The first time I met you was
you came to Chicago.
First time I met you was Sacramento.
No, I didn't go to Sacramento. I went to that year in 2015. I went to Milwaukee only.
Then the first time I met you is when we went over in 2017 to Chicago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we weren't there for anything other than I have always wanted to go to Chicago. And it was more for architecture and history than it was for anything else. It was just so happened, though, that there was a Toon Army Chicago there. So I was like, we have to stop in and watch the match with these people. And then that's when I first met you. And right. Cindy wasn't there, unfortunately.
No.
So.
But I was happy that you were able to bond together at the moonshine tasting in Nashville. That was a good time.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
That was a really good night. Oh, that was a fantastic night.
It was. Nashville, I really liked Nashville. I just felt like it was put together a little, haphazardly, but that's okay because I say it like this because it's true. We just got bought not too long ago, and they are really engaging us definitely more than ever Mike Ashley cared to. I don't even think he knew we existed, to be fair. Maybe he did, but just didn't care.
He didn't.
Yeah, we were nobodies. And so for this administration to come in and do stuff with us to have fan engagement, I mean, I've never been more excited to try to get Toon Army Houston going than in a long time since I first started it, or tried to start it, I should say, because it's been something. But I love what they're trying to do for us and with us. So I'm excited to see what this looks like, next year and the year after, and so forth and so forth.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hoping that we can, continue this relationship with the club and that they want to continue engaging us. And, hopefully it's something that we can see more of and we can see it flourish a lot more than it already has.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, onward and upwards, right? We can't do any worse than what we did before. Ugh. Hold on. Than what we did before Mike Ashley or during the Mike Ashley era. So, and the fact that we are doing something though, right? Like Toon Army USA, we're doing stuff on our own to make sure that we're flying that flag and saying, hey, you can't ignore us anymore. Not that they are, right? But we're shouting from the rooftops now.
Yeah, I've always appreciated the DIY spirit that all the supporters groups here in the US have had. And, this is one of those opportunities where, we've laid the foundation, and now we've got an ownership group that wants to listen to us and wants to interact with us and wants to engage with us. And, that's hopefully that's a good foundation to take things to the next level where, we're starting to see big supporters groups all over the country. And, the ones that are existing are growing and new ones pop up and grow and flourish. So I'm looking forward to all of that. It's going to be an amazing time, as the fan base grows and we get more friendlies here in the US, that we can have more opportunities to meet up with each other and have who am I kidding? A few drinks, many drinks.
Amen. I mean, I'm the first. Before I even greet y'all, I find my bar. I find the bar. I get myself a drink, and then I go find y'all.
Exactly. So
it's priorities.
Yeah, have many drinks together and enjoy each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, let's go ahead and wrap things up. Lastly, let's where can we find you on social media? Facebook, Twitter, Insta, where else?
So those are just it for right now. So we have Toon Army Houston on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. I'm not as active on Instagram, but I will do better.
That's okay. We'll get it. For a lot of people, this has always been a learning process, and opportunities to grow and gain new skills and improve skills that we already have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it with this channel, and I'm so excited that other people are out there, learning skills and growing themselves to not only for themselves but to bring other people together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love what you're doing right now is, engaging what is happening around the US so that we can all get to know each other on a more personal level. Because when we're in those crowded areas, we're just talking Newcastle and stuff like that. But to get backstories and stuff, this is such an intimate and personal way to get it all out there.
I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to doing this with so many more people across the country. There's so many great stories to tell. I think one of the most interesting things, not only for me, but for Cindy as well, my wife, she always wants to ask the question, so how did you become a Newcastle supporter? And the stories they run the gambit of, interesting, crazy, happenstance, chance interactions with people. They're all over the place, and there's so much fun to hear and to be able to share with other people. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to doing more of.
Yeah, I'm excited for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, well, I think that is about all we have for this episode. So Christina, once again, thank you so much for coming on and for the interview, and look forward to seeing you at future events, and obviously if I'm in Houston, I'll let you know. Please do.
We'll always, and anybody who wants to come, we'll be more than happy to take you. We definitely have that Southern hospitality. Come here and let me know that you're here. I will set you up with places to go eat. There's plenty, and things to do. So just let me know.
Geordie hospitality, come together. It's perfect.
Exactly.
Thank you, Christina.
Bye.